What would you give up, Jerry? What would you pay for a 4th Lombardi trophy? For a 6th for the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry said the following: it would be embarrassing. It would be shocking if you knew the size of the check I would write if it guaranteed me a Super Bowl. And it would be obscene. There's nothing that I would not do financially not to get that Super Bowl. So that's a given. That's a real given. First of all, if you ever find yourself an owner in the life of your sports fandom, if you ever cheer for a team and you find yourself with an owner who comes even within a football field of a statement like that, if you ever cheer for a team and it's owned by a man who would do something embarrassing, would write an obscene check for just one more championship, hold on to it tight. That's true love. This is everything a fan ever wants from an owner. This is all you can ever ask for. Yesterday, I went on First Take. I hung out with Andrew Hawkins, a former NFL player, and Jason Fitz, co-host of Spain and Fitz here on ESPN Radio, following me. And by the way, Jason Fitz is going to join me a little bit later in the show. And Jason Fitz had the nerve, the unmitigated gall, the backbone to tell me that Jerry Jones statement, it just sounds a little bit thirsty. I don't know about passionate. It's a little bit pathetic. What are you talking about? This is what you want, you need, you pray for. What do you want? You want the Cincinnati Bengals ownership? You want Mike Brown? You want an owner who's interested in profit? You want an owner worried about his own pockets, unwilling to spend on free agents? You want an owner who prioritizes his checkbook over your championships? This is everything, folks. This is what you want. This is the dream owner. This is passion. This is not pathetic. And for that matter, while we're on it, and I don't think this is necessarily a Dallas Cowboys related thing. I don't think I'm being a homer. When we're talking about what you want from an owner, we should also talk about what it is you want from a fan. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. What's a good fan? Because as far as I'm concerned, the way that Dallas Cowboys fans are being painted by certain members of the media, certain people that walk around these hallways, certain people that have a radio show that might precede mine, and certain people that I'd call a friend, well, it's just downright slanderous. This is Stephen A. Smith on Dallas Cowboys fans.
Nothing in America is worse in the world of sports than a Cowboys fan. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Couldn't find Cowboy fans when all of those years of ineptitude. But then, when they become respectable, Cowboy fans resemble little cockroaches and ants, sniffing and smelling food. And all of a sudden, they come from everywhere, acting like they've been winning all along.
For nothing. How do you not laugh? Even when it's aimed at you. Even when it's offensive. How do you not acknowledge that it's funny? But it's ridiculous. Is that not what a fan is supposed to be? Hell, it's short for fanatic. What's the definition of a good fan? One that only shows up during the winning years? A front runner? Or one that year in, year out believes this is our year? A one that might, yes, Stephen A., survive an atomic blast like a cockroach. One that sticks, thick and thin, good and bad, like a marriage vow. Isn't a fan one who is there, regardless of the winning percentage, regardless of the hope? Let me tell you something. I truly don't find this a Dallas Cowboys segment. I find this a what do you want segment. What do you want in ownership and what do you want in fandom? Because I want an owner that's talking like Jerry Jones, that would write an obscene check to keep my team in championship contention. And I want a fan who's like a cockroach, who's there, surviving that blast, surviving those bad times, surviving 1-15. I want a fan base that doesn't know anything about front running. As far as I'm concerned, that's good fans and that's good ownership. Now I ask you this. How big do you think the check would be? What would Jerry write? Like, just ballparking it here. I wonder what's an obscene check for Jerry. What's an embarrassingly large check for one more Super Bowl trophy? Let's just ballpark it here. If you had to put zeros on it, How big's that check, Rudy?
$100 million? Is
$100 million.
that too high?
I think it is.
Really? I don't think it's too high. I think if he could write a $100 million check for a Super Bowl, he would do it. The salary cap's like half that anyway.
$100 million?
Yeah, that's probably worth it for him.
I mean, I don't know why I find that obscene. I think the number I was going to put out was $50 million.
50 seems like a steal. He's going to have to pay Dak that in a couple years anyway, so who cares?
The truth of the matter is, this is like you and me talking about what's the distance between the Earth and Pluto. I don't know. You think it's like, how many miles is that? I don't know.
A billion?
I don't know. Is it half a billion? Like, these are numbers that we can't comprehend. Like, what's the difference between 50 million and 100 million? I don't know. I've never experienced anything in the realm. It's impossible to project ourselves into the meaning of those numbers.
But it is the most valuable sports franchise in the world. Like, they're worth like probably upwards of $4 billion.
I was going to guess way more. I was going to say like 500 million he would do.
What's it worth? What's Forbes' number at the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I was
right
just
now?
looking. I just looked up his net worth real quick, and supposedly he's 5.6 billion.
So you think he'd write?
So that's what's what?
What'd you
like,
say? 500
That's
million?
nothing.
That's like 1/9 of his worth, right?
You think he'd write 1/9 or 1/10 of his net worth for one Lombardi Trophy?
I mean, if you can believe what he's saying, I would think so.
Jerry, I know you have a radio deal with the Fan in Dallas, but just for 10 seconds, you could even maybe stretch it out to 30. Could you give us a call? I'd just like to know what's the definition of an obscene check. What's embarrassingly large? Just 30 seconds. That's all I need, Jerry. You can even disguise your voice, but just let me know behind the scenes that it's you. You could do like a funny disguise voice, like pinch your nose or something so it doesn't violate your contract.
I would love to hear a funny disguise voice from Jerry Jones.
You know it's Jerry from the messed up syntax.
Yep.
The messed up diction and syntax would let us know no matter how many times he does this, that it's really Jerry.